Hi, welcome to the Improved Garage YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Alright, so we're going to open up the Golden Gate. So this is a, let me look really quick, $75 pair of RCA cables. So when it comes to the quality of cables, or spending a ton of money on cables, specifically spending a lot of money on cables. You know, you can buy cables for $5 from Monoprice. You can buy cables for $50 from Monoprice. But you could also, you know, spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on cables. So I have kind of always adopted a, you know, buy quality once and invest in a quality product and keep it for a number of years. You know, buy the best that you can buy reasonably and, you know, keep it for its life expectancy, or use it for a while and then sell it while, you know, when it becomes average. So usually I am leading edge, but not bleeding edge. You know, so whether it's if it's a computer, I'll generally buy like the end of the last generation, or if it's something like Apple, I tend to buy the new generation when they come out, but that's because they don't really depreciate over time. You know, but like if I was buying a Ryzen processor or something like that, I'd buy one generation behind. When it comes to cables, I find that quality is very important on analog cables. So with a lot of digital cables, you know, if you have a digital cable that can transmit 18 gigs of bandwidth or whatever the number is, with digital, the signal's either there or it's not. So it'll either arrive or it won't. So as long as you buy a cable from a reputable manufacturer that's actually rated properly, you're generally fine. When it comes to analog cables, quality matters a lot. You know, the analog cables have the ability to determine whether a signal arrives undistorted, whether there's noise that's introduced, you know, whether the signal is colored in some way. So I tend to invest in signal cables when they're analog. So RCAs would be a good example of that. You know, the old component video cables and composite video cables, and, you know, those analog types of signals. With speaker wire, I tend to buy things that are 100% copper, that are, you know, decent flexibility from a reputable manufacturer, 16 gauge or 12 gauge, depending on the amount of power that I'm putting through it. In the car, I did everything 16 gauge, except for the subwoofer. The subwoofer is 10 or 12. And it's also a short distance, so I'm not choking the power with those cables. If you have an Osmo Action, you have to get the 3 battery charger that comes with the 2 extra batteries. Like, this video would be done if I didn't have that. Anyway, so these are AudioQuest cables. They're a pretty reputable manufacturer of high-end cables. I didn't go crazy with them. They have cables that are $350 a pair for something like this. I bought Golden Gate. Golden Gate is, I think it's like 3 up from the bottom. It goes like Tower, then Everest, then Golden Gate. Then, you know, there are higher ones above that. So this is a 0.6 meter, which is a 2-foot cable. It has their perfect surface copper conductors, double balanced geometry, noise dissipation system. You know, essentially they are a nicer, so Tower, Evergreen, Golden Gate, Big Sur is the next one that comes after this. So I like the length. 2 feet. This is going to go from my processor to my amplifier. I like the ends. I like that they're directional. I like the casings that are on them. I think that they're, you know, they're a high quality, well built pair of cables. These are 75. I think Everest is like 50 and Tower is like 30 for, you know, that length. But I would much rather them cut to length. I'd rather cables that are the right length than the wrong length. And the reason that I got these is because I've noticed a little bit of noise from the tweeters. So like when I'm sitting at a light and my music is paused, there'll be a little bit of, I don't want to call it alternator whine. It's not quite alternator whine in the historic sense. It is, it's just a light, staticky noise. And that could be the Audison Bit 10 introducing it into the system. That could potentially, which is, I mean, it's an older processor. They don't make them anymore. I've had it for 5 years. It's been in 4 cars. So, I mean, there could be potentially something messed up with it too. But so that could be the Audison Bit 10 introducing the sound in the system. It could also potentially be, something something in the signal path. So I thought low-hanging fruit, let's swap out the RCAs, just make sure that it's not that. So I'm gonna plug those in really quick, specifically to my tweeters. And I don't notice anything for my woofers, but the woofers are coming in at a higher frequency, or a lower frequency, so it just might be outside of the frequency range. So let me see if I can. All right, so here's a light just to see. So here are the cables that I had previously. The woofers are using these AudioQuest Everest cables. The tweeters are using these custom-built cables that have their Mogami wires with Amphenol ends on them. That was something that I picked up from Amazon at one point or another. I thought that they were fairly nice cables. I don't legitimately know that there's anything wrong with them, so me swapping these out was a simple troubleshooting step, because a processor is a lot bigger of an undertaking to replace than a simple RCA cable. So I bought the cables. We'll see how they work. Get them plugged in, and then we'll test from there. All right, so just to follow up on the Golden Gate, I installed it in the car. I've listened to it for a couple of days, and I definitely did notice a decrease in noise, electrical style noise coming from the tweeters. So noise can be emitted from a lot of different sources. It can come from signal cables being too close to power cables. In my case, I've got a lot of signal cables in the back of my car. There's a rear fuse box. There's power cables that run along the sill panels on both sides of the car. The RCAs are kind of a low-hanging fruit because they're low voltage. So because the signal voltage that's going through the RCAs is low compared to all of the other speaker wires and everything else that's there, they're the most likely source of noise. So swapping those out did seem to make an improvement. It's not 100% gone, but it's also not, if the stereo is muted and you're driving the car, the cabin is quiet enough that you can hear a slight kind of hiss from the speakers. So it's not bad. I've had many systems where I've heard many systems where there was worse noise. So I'm not 100% concerned with it. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. The tweeters were a welcome improvement. The Hertz Cento tweeters, which that video might actually be after this video, but anyway. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the purchase. I think with these types of cables, you get what you pay for. When you're talking about analog cables specifically, AudioQuest seems to make good products. My Everest cables I've had for a number of years. I haven't had any issues. This is the 3rd car they've been in, or 4th car they've been in. I don't think you need to go crazy. I don't think you need to spend all the money on the crazy high-end silver cables. If you were If you're using a $5,000 Macintosh amplifier to run a $10,000 pair of speakers, sure, like invest in the high-end cables to match your system. But in this case, where I've got a $3,000 system, $75 pair of RCAs seems appropriate. And my next upgrade that I'm gonna, well, talk about that later. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Thank you.